Well, hello, it's Eric with Cruising with Cheryl and Eric coming at you with the cruise news that you can use on this Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Got a bunch of news coming at you today, and we got everything from Carnival thinking about increasing some of their costs to Princess rolling out a whole bunch of new vegan slash plant-based menu items to excuse me, a couple that's cruising 51 weeks back to back. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. Let's get started. So on the Carnival Corporation's third quarter earnings call, CEO Josh Weinstein, I apologize, Mr. Weinstein, if I mispronounced your name, indicated that the company has not ruled out the idea of implementing a fuel surcharge across all the lines. The potential surcharge would only affect future cruises, future bookings, not ones that are booked currently. I find it interesting because the third quarter earnings call, their third quarter earnings were well above projections, and I find that interesting. Now, they have advised that their fourth quarter potential earnings are going to be less than expected. So I don't know. Maybe that was their way of softening the blow. I don't know. Sorry about that. I needed a little go juice. One thing I learned, which I'm not sure if you guys even know, some of you probably do, but currently Carnival Cruise Lines. Now, Mr. Weinstein is the CEO of Carnival Corporation, which is the parent company of Carnival Cruise Lines and Princess and half a dozen other cruise lines. But Carnival Cruise Line itself already has a clause in its terms and conditions in the fine print that they reserve the right to charge a fuel supplement of up to $9 US dollars, $9 per person per day if the price of light sweet crude oil exceeds $70 US per barrel. I didn't know that. So that's already on the books or in the paperwork for Carnival Cruise Line itself. I don't remember either of the last couple of Carnival cruises I was on having that surcharge added. But honestly, I didn't look real close. That might be something worth keeping an eye on, because the way it reads is that'll be added when you're on the cruise, not necessarily ahead of time. But anyway, Mr. Weinstein, on behalf of all of my fellow cruisers, please don't do that. Cruises are expensive enough. But I know he's probably not going to listen to me. I'm just a YouTuber. Anyway, on to the next one. Princess Cruises. They've decided to, I want to say, and jump on the vegan bandwagon. That's kind of a poor way of saying it. But anyway, they've introduced a brand new vegan slash plant-based series of menu options across all of their ships. Well, eventually will be across all of their ships. They're rolling it out ship by ship, but in the very near future is how it's worded. Every one of their ships will have all of these new menu items. They're focusing on plant-based meals to showcase both culinary creativity and eco-consciousness. When you're on board the ship, the passengers can request these options pre-cruise via their travel agent. They can do it directly by contacting Princess itself or in the cruise personalizer. So when you go in to set up your your itinerary, your excursions, your drink packages, water in the room, things like that, you can request the vegan meals. You can also do it while you're right on board. There doesn't seem to be a lack in variety or options in this with this menu. There's starters, salads, soups, pastas, entrees, all kinds of options. I'm not personally a vegan, but some of these creations that I was reading about just sound absolutely mouth-wateringly delicious. I'm not, it's not that I'm against being vegan. I just, you know, I won't. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of options, for you to take advantage of the way it reads. So you're not eating. I know in the past I've talked to a couple of vegans and they said, basically eat salad for 7 days because there are not a lot of, or in the past there were not a lot of options. So it sounds like that's about to change for Princess. Excuse me 1 second. Staying on the Princess train, the Enchanted Princess was delayed in its departure a couple of days ago, Saturday, September 30th. They're supposed to delay. They're supposed to delay. They're supposed to depart from Barcelona at about, I believe, it was 6 p.m. But they had maneuvering thruster issues that a dive team was able to fix before their departure, but it did delay the departure by about 10 hours. The upside, well, I guess for that, yeah. I mean, you're still on the cruise ship. You're just sitting at dock instead of out floating in the water, which would be a bummer. But the good news was because of the planned, the built-in buffer time-wise to get from there to their first port of call, which was Gibraltar. They're actually supposed to. They arrived in Gibraltar yesterday, but because of that planned buffer, they left on Saturday. Well, actually, it was Sunday morning, but they only arrived into Gibraltar an hour later than they were originally planned to be there. So that was pretty smart planning on their part. So it didn't. I mean, it negatively impacted the passengers, but not drastically. It's not like they missed a port of call because of the thruster issues. So hope everyone on board the Enchanted Princess is having a blast, and I'm jealous that I'm not there with you. Now, this next story is really, really interesting to me. It's something that I thought about doing for Cheryl and I. So an Australian couple, they were tired and they decided that they're basically going to live on board a ship for a while. So starting back in June of 20, excuse me, starting back in June of 2022, they hopped on board the Coral Princess. Lots of Princess cruises in news today, which is pretty cool. But yeah, they hopped aboard the Coral Princess, and they've been on board for 51 back-to-back cruises, 51 weeks of cruising. They figured out that living on board, for lack of a better word, living on board that ship is going to cost them less than living in a retirement home in Australia. Okay. I could see that, depending upon which one and the cost and all that, but I find it pretty cool. So yeah, I've been on 51 back-to-backs. They have according to this article that I read, they have no plans on departing anytime soon. And they said, one of the side benefits or unintended benefits was that they've been on board so long that there are a lot of crew members that were there when they got on board. They completed their contracts, went back home to wherever they're from, saw their families, relaxed, rejuvenated, came back to start their next contract, and this couple's still on board. And he said it's like they're a second family. It's interesting. Yeah, I love the idea of that because the ship that they're on has done different itineraries. It's not like based out of Australia. They do different itineraries, unlike like some of the ships who are based out of, say, Miami, and week 1 they do Eastern Caribbean, week 2 they do Western Caribbean, week 3 they're back to Eastern. That I think that itinerary, those 2 itineraries would get old after a while. But I don't know. I might try and find out. Anyway, that's about it for today. Hope you got a couple of chuckles and a little bit of new information in your life. And have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.